been so sure. I'm tired of being lonely all the time.
And now, Morning Chat with Ken Hayes on WSYB and WSYB1380AM.com. Talk of the day, conversation with folks around town, and you. Your calls are always welcome at 802-773-9792 or toll free 877-241-5960. And now, here's Ken.
I was hoping you'd be there. Ken Hayes here for a Wednesday, the 18th of March, 2015. WSYB at 6 minutes after 9 o'clock. Bonnie Olson is back with us again this morning. I love having Bonnie Olson in. She's a certified Martha Beck life coach. She is with us again because she's going to give us peace and calm in chaos. And that's what we need, Bonnie. Peace and calm. I almost got out the wind chimes. Almost played a little meditation. No?
Sure.
You're not buying it. Okay.
No, I like it all.
Bonnie is back with us. Also back at the CVPS Leahy Community Health Education Center with the Rutland Regional Medical Center on Allen Street here in Rutland for a new series of classes on peace and calm in chaos. This time parts 1 and 2. Part 1 is a 3-part class that includes presentations on how and why we deal with meditation. Those classes on April 14th, 21st, and 28th, 6 to 7:30 p.m. Part 2 will build on Part 1 with mastering emotions. Are you listening, Healy? I think he just ran out the door. Those classes are on May 5th and 12th from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Registration is required, and it's limited to 15 people, so call soon. 772-2400. Welcome, Bonnie. Have you sold out yet? Last time you sold out. So did you really? You're already sold out?
Well, the same thing happened this time as last time.
You can be put on a waiting list. But
there was a wait list, but the wait list was so large that I'm doing a double class.
Oh, wow.
I'm doing back-to-back classes for the first part, and I'm really happy about that. What I understand is a lot of people had a difficult time getting through this past winter, including me. It was a long, hard winter.
It still is. It was snowing yesterday.
Right. And I think it really has gotten under people's skin, and they're looking for ways of stress release. And I'm so happy to be able to share all I've learned with them. And this part 2 is kind of exciting for me, too, because I get to see the people from the first time that I did the class 1, and I have spent the winter delving into deeper areas of thought and emotions that I get to share with these people, and I'm thrilled to do that.
Neat.
So, yeah.
There once was a man with a horse. Well, I don't want to make a limerick out of it. Maybe we should just start with a parable. Many years ago, there was a farmer who had a horse that was very valuable to him. You ever hear this one?
No.
Well, one day the horse ran away, and the townspeople commented, oh, man, how terrible for you. And the farmer responded, well, maybe yes, maybe no. Then the following day, the horse returned with 6 stallions right alongside it. And the townspeople said, how wonderful for you. You just got 6 new horses. And the farmer said, well, maybe yes, maybe no. And then a few days later, the farmer's son was trying to break one of the stallions. He was bucked off, broke his leg. Townspeople said, how awful, your poor son. And the farmer said, maybe yes, maybe no. A week later, the army came through town, drafting all the young men. They wanted to grab him and pull him off to fight in the war, except the farmer's son, because he was injured. He had broken his leg, so he couldn't go. And the townspeople cried out, you're so lucky, your son is saved. And he said, that's right, maybe yes, maybe no. Well, we can see that it would have been a mistake for the farmer to overreact to circumstances, either good or bad. It would have been wrong for him to jump on the bandwagon with the townspeople, because he couldn't possibly know how things would turn out. But the problem is that most of us are more like the townspeople than the farmer. We react instantaneously, and we also tend to personalize it. It's as if everything in life is aimed directly at
Always.
us. Yeah.
Well-
Are you listening, Jack? Oh, he left. He ran out the door.
That's what it is to be human. Right.
Well,
That's our natural inclination.
We live in a constant state, though, of reactivity and uneasiness, but
Right.
because we're trying to control things that are not within our control.
Do you remember last year when we were talking, or the most recent time that we were talking about negativity bias?
Right.
And the human brain automatically takes and accepts the negative as being the truth.
Correct.
And you can think of it as Velcro to the negative and Teflon to the positive.
Yeah, very good. Very good analogy.
And, just like a Teflon pan, anything positive kind of just slips right off.
Yep.
It goes in one ear and out the other. And we go, yeah, but.
We question it. We doubt it.
Yeah, but look at
Right.
what else
Right,
happened.
right.
The kid broke his leg. So definitely that's a big part of who we are as humans. But knowing that about ourselves, we can counter that. And that's a lot of what I try to help people learn to do, is just to notice what I'm thinking, notice how I'm feeling. And from those two places, that really maps out our whole life and our existence for us. If we can start looking at how we're thinking and feeling, we can guide ourselves to a much happier life.
If we can reach a state of equanimity between the, oh my God, that's terrible, oh my God, and the, oh, it's the best thing that ever happened to me, because neither is going to last. You
Right.
know, that whether
Staying
that's
in
the
neutral.
glow of, yeah, exactly.
Staying in neutral because,
Coasting.
yes, because that's really where our physiology wants to be, is in the neutral. We don't really want to be in the highs and in the lows. We want to be in neutral. Things are going to evolve and happen as they will, regardless of if we get really excited or really down.
Yeah.
I mean, it's wonderful to get excited. I'm not naysaying that. But the truth is, most of the time we go on the downward cycle.
Yeah.
And we don't know what's around the corner. And I promise you, 99% of the time, it's going to get better.
Do you hear that, Jack? It's going to get better. Oh, he's left. He can hear the first 10 or 15 minutes while he's driving over to his other job. Speaking of which, is it true? He mentioned on the air earlier this morning that you guys have this on in the office when you're on? Do you put SYB on the house speaker thing in the ceiling there?
I don't, because I'm not there when I'm here. But
But you know what they do. They'll tell you. Do they really? Do they flip it over?
They have, yeah.
Really?
They have been. In fact, when my husband went off to work this morning, I suggested, you don't have to have it on in the whole office. You can just live stream it from your computer.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Well, if it is on in the office, hi, everybody.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm sure it probably is. So, yeah. Hi, everybody.
Gee, I hadn't known. I would have been nervous if you had told me that before. Phew, it's a good thing you didn't tell me I was
that's
on in the office
funny.
like that.
You guys are everywhere.
It is true. A lot more people listen than you think listen.
Well, yeah. I got some phone calls after the last time I was in here, and it surprised me, the people that were listening and people who know me well enough that wanted to call me and talk about what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Most people don't take the time out of their lives to really assess where they're at.
Yep.
And it brought up enough questions that people were interested in talking one-on-one. So that was kind of fun.
It's funny when we talk about equanimity, because I can remember even as a young lad, a wee lad, thinking to myself, wait a minute, it's not St. Patrick's Day anymore, I don't have to do that. But thinking to myself, as only a child could, I guess. My approach has always been, we live in the great pan scale of life. You know the pan scales that we used to use in chemistry and physics class?
Yes.
The balance beams, where you put something in one tray and you put something in the other, and one's heavier and it goes up and down, and you try to maintain equilibrium. And even as a kid, I remember thinking, don't get too excited over this piece of good news. Because in the great pan scale of life, something equally on the negative side will come along to balance it out. And when something bad would happen, I'd always think, but there's going to be something just as fun and exciting and even better than I could have imagined that will bring that pan scale back into life. I know, pretty deep for a 6-year-old.
Well, see, you too have a great mind, and you
I
think
too?
deeper.
Oh,
Yes.
well, you mean in addition to Jack? Thank you.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
But I remember saying that to my mom, who was very stiff, upper lip British, gave me that look, as only moms can give that look. called me Kenneth, which meant I was in trouble, and told me to get out of the kitchen very quickly. Either she knew it was right and it bothered her, or she couldn't quite grasp it and was annoyed that I was being too philosophical while she was being very practical in the kitchen, with 5 kids to 10. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You folks not watching SYB television couldn't see the eye roll that Bonnie Olson just gave me, but with five youngins to take care of. Yeah, it's
well, who knows what was going through her mind, and in that moment, what else was going on?
Exactly, and she doesn't want to hear from some snot-nosed 6-year-old about the great
philosophies of life,
scale of life. Yeah, but this brings us to one of your topics in your presentations: grounding, centering, keeping things in the middle ground, as I like to call it.
Really getting ourselves to neutral, both with our bodies and our minds. And it ends up encompassing body, mind, spirit, and emotions, if we really want to look at it, because we are really all 4 of those things. We have to bring equilibrium to all of those things. And again, it all starts with us just noticing. And when we're feeling a bit ill at ease, it's time to do a check-in and assess why that is. And from that place, find out how we can make a change. We were raised by parents who loved us very much. Some who maybe didn't love us all that much. But anyway, by and large, we were raised by loving parents or people who did their best.
And who wanted the best for us.
Who wanted the best for us. But with that came their patterns. Right. And we end up adopting their patterns, and no one taught us any different. It would be wonderful if we could take, on Being Human 101 and learn, really how to approach the world instead of getting the information secondhand by people who didn't do it very well in the first place. So we picked up patterns that may not really serve us very well, but because it's what we're used to, and it created neural pathways in our brains on how to handle certain situations, and that's our go-to way of dealing with things. But understanding now that we're adults that we don't have to follow those patterns, we can start to make choices and create new, better, healthier patterns for ourselves.
That's good to know. So when I'm in the middle of some kind of fix-it project, and it's, it was just change the light bulb, which then the fixture came out of the ceiling, and then when the ceiling started to crumble, I had to fix the plaster, and then the lath broke behind it, and
is that the way your dad always did it?
I was going to say, it was. It was. He would say in that old Irish way, another 5-minute job. So that means I don't have to curse and swear like a drunken sailor when that happens.
Right.
I can take a breath and say, I should have called the professional in the first place.
Right.
Let's see who can call us on the phone. Hi, you're on WSYB.
You better not cuss and swear like a sailor, because the FCC would be all over you.
Well, I'm on an 8-second delay, so if I ever did slip, I could always edit myself. So.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I forget about it, too, a lot of times.
Yeah, well, you're a Christian. You don't have to worry about it.
Well, hey, listen, nobody's perfect. Let me put it that way.
Especially me. Good morning, Bonnie.
Good morning. How are you?
All right. We've talked before, and I also went on your website.
Oh, good.
Yes, and I noticed you have the option of having therapy sessions outdoors.
Yes. Yep.
Weather permitting.
And it's not really therapy because I'm a coach. I'm not a therapist.
I remember we talked about that.
Yep, but I love to walk, and honestly, being in nature is probably the best way to get there, quote unquote, and there meaning to that state of calm and peace.
So a session in Pine Hill Park would not be totally unheard of.
Right.
Now you're talking.
That's true.
BonnieOlsonLifeCoach.com. You can sign up right there, Bill.
I know. I saw it. That's
okay. She'll go to Pine Hill Park with you, just not when it's snowing.
No. And well, that is a good point, Ken. Because what happens if you set up a session, Bonnie, and the weather turns bad?
Well, we would already have a plan B in place. I don't know what that is, but we would have a plan B.
There's your equanimity.
Yes.
You're balanced.
Bonnie, you were talking about how we adopt the family pattern.
True.
And that is right, because I see it myself. There's another aspect to that, which is really confusing, is not only do we adopt our family pattern, we generate relationships that adopt the same pattern, and the weird thing is, it just happens.
You mean we choose to go into relationships with somebody that has those similar patterns? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but it's not like I didn't consciously do it.
No, but honestly, our brain goes to whatever's easiest, and probably our emotions definitely follow our thoughts. So what happens there is it's comfortable, it's easy, and the brain goes, oh, okay, they get me. I guess this is a good place to be. But when we start challenging the patterns and finding the ones and noticing what is not healthy for us, then we can start noticing also what relationships are and are not healthy for us. Does that make sense?
Yeah, a little bit of a mouthful.
Yeah, right.
I mean, you're absolutely right. I'm trying to, because see, on the radio you can't be quiet, or Ken will be upset with me.
No, it's all right. I'll fill. But I mean, it is something to chew on for a while, Bill.
Yeah, you have to think about it, because she's absolutely right, and I don't want to let her go before I get it. It's like I better just read it back. We unconsciously pick people like the family because the brain takes the easiest path.
Right. And so always. Our brain is efficient.
Right. What is it? The something stem, right? The middle brain, or no, the inner brain.
Well, there's 3 parts of the brain, and that's part of my part 2 that I'm going to be going over, as a matter of fact.
Mastering emotions.
Well, if you want to jump to that, I'll just kind of try to complete your thought there.
Yeah, why don't we do that?
Yes.
Make sure. Yeah, I shouldn't leave till I get the concept.
Right. We adopt patterns that were taught to us by our families.
Okay.
Because that's what we're used to, and we are comfortable in them because that's the way the family operated in the world. And we end up meeting people and are drawn to people who also live the same patterns, whether they're healthy to us or not, just because we're comfortable with that.
And the brain takes the easiest path, and it's an unconscious approach.
Correct. And most of us live most of our lives unconsciously.
But how do we pick people like
the best way to pick the right person is to do the work for yourself so that you begin living the life that you are comfortable living. And once you are in that comfortable place, it doesn't mean you can't try other people while you're going through the process, but it means that you can use your discerning to start new relationships, and you will be more discerning once you have come to a greater place of confidence and peace within yourself.
So once you understand that the brain is wired to take the easiest path, and there's a risk that you're going to find people that follow the same pattern as the family, then you can acknowledge that, rearrange your thoughts, be more alert for warning signs. Is that what you're getting at?
Well, just start making changes within yourself to be as emotionally healthy as possible, and then that's the person that you're going to attract. And it's also going to be the person that you're going to be attracted to.
Now I get it. So you become something. Okay, if you see a negative pattern in the family, it's up to me, before you worry about relationships.
Right.
It's up to me to become different through self-awareness.
Well, you always want to be yourself, but you want to work out the things in yourself that you don't find very comfortable.
Right. I tend to attract emotional hurricanes.
Well,
only they don't start out as hurricanes. That's where we're kind of struggling a little bit, because they don't.
Well, it doesn't mean they're not good people. It just means that they themselves are maybe not an emotional healthy place, like you're talking about. So the best solution to that is to get yourself emotionally strong and healthy.
Now I get it, because like even take my parents, they're not bad people. Mm-hmm. Let's be honest.
Right.
And they probably did a lot of good things for me. Let's be more honest.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's hard to say
They
that.
did the best they could.
Absolutely. They did the best
with
they
their
could.
limited resources and limited experience and understanding.
You're very good at this.
Yeah, that's why we have her on, Bill.
Yeah, I mean, no, but she's getting all. It's like, not only do I feel like she's getting good insights, but I also feel like instead of being on the radio, I'm visualizing walking through Pine Hill Park right now.
Well, there you go. That's a nice place to be.
Yes.
And that automatically, even our brain is so tricky. We can go back to a memory of a place and we can connect with that. And it automatically will bring our body and mind to a place of calm and peace. And that's a really nice thing. And we have that power within us all day long, any day.
Yeah, that's why, I understand you're not a therapist, you're a life coach, but I feel better.
I'm so glad.
Yes. But isn't that therapy?
No.
No?
No, it's coaching. I'm coaching you to understand how to get to a better feeling place.
Right. Become a better feeling place doesn't mean you become a different person. It just means you become, like we talked about, understand your weaknesses, what the brain does.
You become the best you.
I become the best you. Yes, and now if I did want to see what you do, like the 30-minute compatibility session in your office, right?
A lot of my clients, and especially that appointment, I do on the phone.
Oh, you do? Mm-hmm. So, because I don't drive with the eyesight, if I couldn't get to the office, that wouldn't be the end. Because that was one of the reasons why, it's like if you can't get there, why bother,
No, believe it or not, even local clients, there are oftentimes I do on-phone sessions, or I do Skype sessions, too.
Well, I don't do Skype. But anyway, why don't we do this? Thank you so much for those insights. I'll just listen off air while you talk about the 3 parts of the brain. Does that sound okay?
That's exactly what I was going to do next. Thanks.
Right. Bye-bye.
Good talking with you.
Well, thanks. He's a great producer, too. He led you right into the 3 parts of the brain.
Yes, he did.
Beautiful. Bonnie Olson is our guest this morning, certified Martha Beck life coach. Bonnie Olson, lifecoach.com. That's Olson, not En. Bonnie Olson, lifecoach.com. Or you can email her. That would be Bonnie at BonnieOlsonLifeCoach.com. Tell me about the 3 parts of my brain.
Well, I've spoke before from here about the most primitive part of our brain, the earliest part of our brain that was to form evolutionarily, and that was the reptile brain, something we have in common with reptiles, which, its purpose is really to only just react. It just reacts out of fear. And the next part of our brain is more evolved, and it's the mammalian part of the brain that we share with all mammals. And that area really has a need for satisfaction, to be satisfied. And then the most evolved part of our brain that makes us human is the neocortex. And again, that's the newest part of the brain, and that comprises our need for connection with others.
Is that the thinking part of the brain?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, our reasoning part of our brain.
It was my neocortex talking to my mom all those years ago about the great pan scale of life. Huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I guess it wasn't the mammalian part. It certainly wasn't reptilian.
Well, and the fun little thing you can think about with this is, for the 3 brain parts, you can think of it as pet the lizard, because it needs safety. There, dear, you'll be fine. Feed the mouse, and that's the need for satisfaction. And then hug the monkey, the need for connection. So those are the 3 parts of our brain. What's interesting about that is when things are not going real well in our lives, you can kind of notice the part of your brain that's actually being stimulated physiologically. So those parts all exist still in our brain, and they cause unconscious kind of reactions to things until we get a handle on what's going on and learn to take breaths and learn how to notice things instead of just reacting.
Yeah, how do I get a handle on them? That's the next obvious question. I know, easily asked, not easily answered, huh?
Well, it depends on the problem. And first, always start by taking 3 deep breaths.
That's what they told me before I went on the air for the first time. Take 3 deep breaths. I went on the air, I was out of breath. Hi, you're on WSYB.
This is an interesting conversation you're having.
Is it reptilian for you, or is it mammalian?
Well, I'll get to that.
Okay.
I wanted to go back to your anecdotes regarding your mom, which was very endearing. And I have to ask,
she didn't think so.
when she was in the kitchen, did she ever make Irish bean stew?
My mom was British. No, she wouldn't touch the Irish stuff.
She wouldn't, huh?
Oh, no.
Well, do you know why they only put 239 beans in there?
Get ready on the rim shot machine. Why, Mike?
Because if there were any more, it'd be too farty.
But I don't have Colin Moore's rim shot.
But anyway,
but yeah.
Apart from that,
yes.
When Bonnie's talking about the segments of the brain, you mentioned initially the reptilian brain. Now, could that be construed also as the medulla?
It's in that area.
And then the mammalian brain is what area?
It's almost, think of it as like 3 floors. One is stacked on top of the other.
Yeah. And then the third one that you say has to do with connection. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. That makes us Homo sapiens, right? Because
we're tribal.
We don't do well in isolation.
No, we don't. And even those of us who are not in a great place emotionally or mentally will isolate ourselves, which just creates an even deeper problem.
Right, and I if I'm not mistaken, that's why people who are sensory deprived, like if you're in a water tank in the dark, and you're sensory deprived, although I don't think you're totally sensory deprived if you're in water, but your mind strives to create a situation that you can react to. So you may imagine things that aren't really there, but your mind is looking for some sensory.
That's true.
Fulfillment?
Mm-hmm. Yep. I think your mind is always working 24/7. Your conscious mind may not be working 24/7, but your subconscious mind will be working 24/7.
And isn't it the subconscious mind that really determines the direction of the conscious mind?
It certainly can. Yeah, it greatly affects the conscious mind. What happens with the subconscious mind is, without getting too involved, things that we don't want to deal with will be tucked away into that subconscious mind, and they come up whether we want them to or not. And usually if it's negative things, it's in the form of anxiety. So that subconscious mind is always working, always aware. And that's why we dream. There's a lot of our dream is really are trying to help us work out the things that happen during the daytime.
Right.
And that's also an interesting tangent of what I do. I help people understand their dreams better.
And from what you're saying, it sounds also that everybody has these things that they go through throughout the progress of their life, and may not be comfortable with them, and so they internalize them.
Absolutely.
And then somewhere along the line,
we are taught to internalize, and we are taught to not express. Somewhere
down the line, and I'm sure in one way or another this happens with everybody. In some cases, more dramatically, the result is more dramatic than it is with others. But the area of your brain that you have to store all that in becomes full, and all of a sudden these things come out and overwhelm you.
True. Yeah.
Or
things build up. Things build up. I don't know if we ever run out of space. Our brain is incredibly large, and there's so many synapses that are possible for us that we don't have to worry about that. We got plenty of room for lots and lots and lots. But yes, emotionally, it's an emotional trigger. Emotionally, too much builds up, and then we start feeling physical discomfort usually.
And isn't this whole process we've been talking about, this is what separates the primates from the other animals, right?
Well, yes, absolutely. Dogs and cats don't tend to worry. They don't tend to get, upset or mad. My owner didn't treat me well today, and I'm going to just pout the rest of the day. Although I've seen pouting dogs before, but they don't hold on to it like we do.
Right.
So, yeah, we are unique in that.
And the Irish are even more unique. Listen, we can hold a grudge for centuries, kiddo.
Although, Ken, I understand.
Yes.
if you go to Ireland on St. Patrick's Day,
here it comes. Get the rim shot.
No.
Oh, okay.
Serious.
Yeah.
It's not celebrated the same way.
Well, no, it was always. I don't know if it still is today. It's a holy day of obligation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's patron saint, St. Patrick.
And did you also know St. Patrick was Italian?
Yeah, I think I told you that last year, didn't I?
Well, he was kidnapped. He's from a wealthy family, and he was kidnapped.
Yeah.
But anyway, well, this is all very interesting. The way, Bonnie, the way you approach this.
Well, I'm glad you find it interesting.
And I just, in fact, just as a matter of course, I heard a doctor say very recently that a study had been done, and that babies who are breastfed for at least a year show more intellect and capacity, because as a result of the length of time that they breastfeed.
To do with the nurturing, probably.
The nurturing is for some reason, produces more synapses in the brain.
Yep,
and connections and so forth.
Right, yeah. And another interesting thing that Freud said was that the luckiest people are those that were their mother's favorite child. And it goes back to that. Although we can fill ourselves up with self-love and still have the same effects as mother's favorite child, we just have to come to that within ourselves. But yeah, that's very true.
And consequently, do you agree to any degree that people who show an excessive amount of ego are trying to compensate for insecurity?
Yeah, I would say so.
Boy, I'm going to have to listen to the show that follows you.
I knew you were going to do that,
Bonnie. This is great. I'll get off and give someone else a chance, but I'm really enjoying where you're coming from here.
Oh, great! I'm glad you joined us.
Okay, you guys have a good day.
Thanks. You too, Mike. Bonnie Olson is our guest this morning on WSYB, certified Martha Beck life coach. You can check her out on Bonnie Olson, Olson, Bonnie Olson, lifecoach.com. I guess my brain, Bonnie, is undersized and starved because I was a baby of the, 50s, 40s, 50s. So I'm bottle fed, kiddo.
So was I. What does that mean?
Well, no, what you were saying with Mike, that the greater brain, greater synapses, greater ability for the brain if you're breastfed. So I guess we came up on the short end of the stick, kiddo.
It was a trend.
I know. I'm just teasing about it.
Most people of the same era were also bottle fed, so we're not alone.
No, I didn't think I was alone. That's for sure. But well, anyway, we're talking about mastering thoughts, managing thoughts instead of mastering, because that's part of the problem, isn't it? Or part of the trick instead of
mastering emotions.
Yeah, but
I like to call it mental hygiene.
Oh, cute. Explain that.
Well, being a dental hygienist,
yeah,
I decided that, mental hygienist would be good, but more pointedly, mental hygiene, meaning we get to choose our thoughts. We don't have to just let our brains be like, with ping pong balls bouncing all around all the time, which so many of us do and creates a very stressful existence. We can choose our thoughts. We can choose better thoughts. And in these classes, I hope to teach that.
So I can floss when it comes to the brain and get rid of the the detritus.
A good metaphor.
Well, I figure if we're going with the hygiene metaphor, we might as well continue.
Absolutely. Yep.
Hey, you hear that, Jack? Oh, he's not listening anymore. I'm always teasing him about not flossing because when we've had dentists on before, I'll say, "Now, Jack, you have flossed, right? We're going to talk about that today." He says, "Shh, don't tell them. I don't floss. I don't floss." And lately now, it's I'll do it like a week before I have to go. I said, "You're not fooling them. They can tell by how the gums bleed, you dummy. You've got to keep doing it. Plus, you want to keep your teeth." Bonnie Olson has all her teeth, and they're magnificent. But that's not why you called. She has a new series of classes on peace and calm in chaos coming up at the CVPS Leahy Community Health Education Center with the Rutland Regional Medical Center on Allen Street here in Rutland. The classes are, well, part one, 3-part classes, April 14th, 21st, and 28th. Now, you have 2 of each one because the first ones have already sold out. So.
I have 2 of the first of the original class.
Right.
And the director, the new coordinator, Elizabeth Dully, wanted you all to know that to look again for this class. If you weren't able to get into it, they'll be offering it again in the fall.
Oh, okay. So it isn't, the classes are April 14th, 21st, and 28th, 6 to 7:30 p.m., but you're not doing a 7:30 to 9 right after
No,
that.
I'm doing a Tuesday class and then a Thursday class as well through the month of April.
Oh, okay.
But they are both filled.
Oh, both of them are filled.
Both to the point where I had to let more people into each class.
So it's more than 15 per class.
It's more this time.
Wow.
So
good for you.
Well, it's really the information. I think it's really timely.
Well, you do work miracles, you know.
Oh, aren't you sweet?
No, it's the truth. I mean, the difference you've made just in talking with my wife is in full disclosure, folks. I mean, I met Bonnie through the show. I'd never met her before. We had her on the first time a year or so ago. But
you're breaking the HIPAA law.
She just the HIPAA law. No, she's allowed to. She doesn't. she loves you. Are you kidding? She'd love to be a, you know, what do you call it, a testimonial to what you do, and she night and day. I mean, but when you and I talked about this stuff the first time, and you gave me a little of your background, and I said, you know, you sound amazingly like the woman that I'm married to. You two would hit it off really well. And apparently you have, because she's a lot calmer and she's a lot more relaxed with herself and her life around her. So anyway, that's an unsolicited testimonial on my part as to what Bonnie can do for you. BonnieOlsonLifeCoach.com. You can email her. It's Bonnie@BonnieOlsonLifeCoach.com. Do you want phone calls or you do not want phone calls? Do you prefer emails from folks?
Emails are a great place to start.
Okay.
And then set up a time for a phone call.
Okay,
sure.
Good. And as far as the classes are concerned, 772-2400 is the number if you want to get on the waiting list for registration. How many are in each class now?
We've had to close the door at 20 each.
So you total of 40 for each one?
No, a total of 20 in each session.
Oh, that's what I mean for part one.
Part one is closed at 40.
Is part two doubled up yet?
No. I'm not going to be doubling up on that this time.
Well, that's what you say.
Yeah, I know.
Until it becomes too popular, and then you can't say no to people.
And you don't know, right, after these 2 large classes of part one happen, who knows? But I'm not planning on doing a second one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, part 2 builds on part 1. It's with Mastering Emotions. And those classes, they're still scheduled for May 5th and May 12th. Mm-hmm. Okay, also 6 to 7:30 p.m. But 772-2400 is the number over there at the Leahy Community Health Center, Education Center, Rutland Regional Medical Center. And they'll be happy to explain it all to you if I've gotten you confused. Lord knows I probably confused myself. Hey, am I in trouble for breaking the HIPAA, HOPA, whatever it's called?
I hope not.
Oh, me
Being
too.
that it's your
Me
wife,
too.
And if she's okay with it, then you're probably okay.
Me too. Are the HIPAA officials listening, and are they going to come in and storm the studio at any moment?
You never know. Never know. Something to worry about.
Hey, there you go. We can break the equanimity of this hour and give us something to worry about. Right. Basic and guided meditation.
Mm-hmm. And thought work. And I wanted to mention that Oprah and Deepak Chopra this past Monday just began another one of their free 21-day meditations.
Oh, neat.
And they're wonderful. It's a great place to start with meditating if you've never meditated before. Mm-hmm. And this one's based on success. Don't let that scare you if you're not concerned with success. I mean, success is, we want to be successful human beings. And
right.
It doesn't necessarily mean in, business or
right.
whatever.
There's success in all aspects of life.
All aspects of life. So I strongly urge you, if you've ever had an inkling, guided meditation is a nice way to go because your mind always wants to be thinking about something, and it's like a first step, a nice kind of gentle first step into being introduced into meditation.
I should have meditated last night. You know what I was dreaming about all night? Well, it's the cold medicine too. Mm-hmm. It makes you loopy.
Makes you loopy.
But it's I kept struggling with getting a news story written for here,
So frustrating.
Well, yeah, because I kept, and then I'd turn on my left side and I'd say, was I really dreaming that? And I'd turn on my right side and I'd be right back to the same thing about, no, I got it. That doesn't sound right. No, that's a dangling participle. No, I have to move the subjective clause. And see, this is how writers think. They get all twisted up here. But then when I got up, everything was fine. Because I knew I was coming in here, and I knew it wasn't really a problem to do the story. It was some convoluted story, but anyway.
That's funny.
But now, in terms of meditation, do you actually lead classes in meditation?
I do some guided meditation in class. Yes.
And this as part of these this lecture series, or what are they? Just introductory, or do you step people through it?
Probably both. I bring probably 5 different, if not more, examples, and I go through them with everybody. Yep. 5 different kinds.
Can you tell us the 5?
Well, I don't have all my notes.
Oh, I thought you just knew them off the top of your. I didn't want to put you on the spot with that.
Well, no, that's all right. No, honestly, I haven't been focusing on my class 1 so much as I've been writing class 2. So, and I've got plenty of time to review my notes before that. See, you caught me.
No, I'm not looking to catch anybody. This hour is the easiest, softest hour that has ever been invented in the history of radio. Ever since Marconi invented the thing, it's never been easier.
Well, when I decided to come on after your kind invitation, I was thinking, how can I really be there the most for the people that are listening in?
Right.
And so I brought with me a sheet of ideas for things that they can do today, anytime.
Oh, good.
To help themselves. And, if we want to go through that, we can.
I would say anything you can do to help us remain centered amidst all the chaos of everyday life, I'm all there.
Okay.
Lay it on me, as we used to say.
All righty. So these are ways to change our thinking to create a calmer life. And first, I'm going to start with the list of things to stop doing. Stop black and white thinking. Most of the world is gray, in the gray area, and we live thinking absolutes all the time, and we take ourselves pretty seriously. Yeah. So if we can kind of let that down a little bit and understand and acknowledge the gray area, we're going to feel so much better. We really are, because that goes right into defending that you're right. And whenever we're defending something, I think we ought to look a little deeper as to why, because that action in itself keeps us stressed.
It certainly does.
So, and that follows right along with all or nothing thinking. Pretty much the same thing, except, well, it explains itself, all or nothing.
Yeah. Either it works or, no, that's it. Forget
that's
it.
Right.
I quit. I walk away.
That's right. And then having to be right, like I mentioned, and also being absolutely sure that you're right.
Oh, you knew my dad?
Another one is needing to control others.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we'll be happy when they do X, Y, or Z.
Right.
When really all we can do is to control ourselves.
Yeah.
We come from a much calmer, happier, peaceful place when we only deal with ourselves.
Yeah. If I can't make myself the perfect person that I would like to be, how can I go through life looking at the other guy, whoever that other guy is? How can I look at the other guy and expect him or her to be perfect?
True. Yeah, that's very true. And usually when we are finding fault with somebody else, it's a big red flag that what we're looking at is a perceived flaw in ourselves.
You're a smart woman.
It works every time,
Yep.
I'll tell you.
Yeah.
And we don't like to admit that to ourselves. But
Nope.
the things that irk us most about other people is really what in our subconscious, it may be buried that deeply, maybe bugging us about ourselves.
Yeah. Well, in the New Testament, I mean, there was Jesus saying, don't be looking to pull the splinter out of your neighbor's eye when you haven't pulled the huge plank out of your own eye. So, yeah, exactly.
True. And drama. Drop the drama from your life. Deal with the facts.
Yeah.
Do yourself a huge favor. You're going to feel so much better when you just simply don't allow the drama.
Thank you, Your Honor. Just the facts.
Just the facts.
Would you like to pause at that and take a phone
Sure.
call? Maybe we have some facts on the phone. Let's see. Hi, you're on WSYB.
Good morning.
Hi.
Good morning.
Great show. You're so right.
Yes, she is.
As I get older and grayer, so does life.
And you get smarter, too. Did you notice that?
Well, you learn to shut up and listen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if you don't, you get into really big trouble fast.
The older you get, the more you learn, the more you realize how little you know and how much more there is to learn. And that's
how you know. That's how you know you're getting smarter.
That is
when you finally get to the point where you throw your hands up and I don't know anything for sure.
Yeah, that's right.
It's very enlightening. It also can be damn scary.
Mm-hmm. True.
But and if you really listen to what people say, not what you think they say, but what they say. And if it's not clear, you should ask the question, what are you saying?
That's true.
And sometimes that makes them pause too. But whatever, it's a wonderful program. I'm enjoying it immensely.
I'm so glad. Thank you.
Thanks for your call.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Onward
with
our tips.
Okay. And now I have a list of things that you want to be willing to. So be willing to open your mind to alternatives in your thinking. Kind of goes along with, the black and white thing. Be willing to consider that you may not know all the answers. Be willing to allow others to make their own mistakes.
That's a tough one.
That is a tough one.
That is a tough one.
And as parents, I think that's really tough.
You bet.
But understand that making mistakes is really how we learn. And do you know that when we experience either a mistake or a positive thing, that is what's creating a new neural pathway in our brain? We really have learned it. But if you're just listening to somebody criticizing you and, trying to redirect you, you're not going to learn the lesson.
That's right. There are certain things in life one must learn for his or herself, and no one can teach it to you.
True, and it's painful to allow people to make those mistakes.
And that's part of being a good parent.
That
you got to
is.
step back and let them fall, and they're going to skin their knee every once in a while, but that's part of life. Yeah.
Well, and that's where setting good boundaries comes into, and understanding the separation between myself and my child or my sibling or whoever. Yeah. We need to be distinct about that and know that they are on their own journey. Mm-hmm. I can support them and love them, but I can't prevent them from making mistakes. Okay, another thing to be willing to...
You're a great mom.
Oh, I wish I knew all I know now back then.
Oh, hey, how many of us say that at this point in life? If I had known then.
I know. So be willing to put yourself first and know that what's best for you is best for everyone. And there's not a client of mine who hasn't heard me drill that point. That's the absolute truth. What is best for you is best for everyone. When you're living your best life and when you're making decisions based on what is best for you, you are teaching people how to live their own life in the best way. And you are also doing what is best for you. And when you are living that life of doing what's best for you, you are able to give so much more.
Sure, you're setting the prime example.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But you're able to participate a whole lot more on a whole different level.
Yeah, because you're not worried about this and that and the next thing. Yeah.
So be willing to put a few minutes aside for yourself each day to reconnect with yourself and to be peaceful. So important. If we're living in what we call the red zone, where you're in that chronic fight or flight all the time, you're doing a huge disservice to your body and your mind and your spirit. You're not going to be well. No,
cell growth is inhibited by that kind of stress. Yeah.
It is. And in fact, there's a switch in your body, in your physiology. You cannot be in fight or flight in that heightened state of awareness, alert, that heightened state of alert. and at the same time be in that rest and digest side. Those are two different sides of your nervous system.
Right.
While one is on, the other one's off.
Yep.
So know that you are preventing healing. And if you're somebody who suffers from an illness, let me tell you, the best thing you can do for yourself is to make sure that you are doing everything you can to stay in that calm, neutral place.
Exactly.
And then the last thing to be willing to do is to get neutral and do your best to stay there.
We're right back where we started from. Mm-hmm. We're in neutral.
We're neutral.
I love it.
Yay, neutral is good.
We have reached equanimity, and we've done it within the confines of a broadcast hour on WSYB. It's amazing. And we couldn't have done it without you, Bonnie Olson, certified Martha Beck life coach.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
You're a delight. You can come back anytime.
Well,
you just make everybody calm just listening to you speak. You're nice and calm. I love it. Just remember that it's by resisting passions and not by serving them that true peace of heart is found. So peace is not in the heart of the carnal man. It's not in the man who is devoted to outward things. It's in the man who is fervent and spiritual. So. And we'll leave it on that
okay.
note, in that great pan scale of life. Thanks, Bonnie Olson. I appreciate it. And Don't forget, you can reach her at BonnieOlsonLifeCoach.com on the web, or if you want to call the Leahy Center directly and talk to them about the classes coming up in April and May, 772-2400. One last break. We'll wrap it up for the morning, 9:56 WSYB.
The Country House Restaurant is the place to go for a good meal at a great price. Enjoy beer and wine
while you relax and peruse their menu.
Specializing in hamburgers, pizza, and traditional home-cooked favorites, the Country House offers a newly remodeled space that's cozy and comfortable every day for lunch out with friends or colleagues, and every evening for family-style dinners. And this weekend, why not treat yourself to a home-cooked breakfast? The Country House Restaurant is cooking up all your favorites Friday through Sunday, opening at 7 a.m. So don't cook tonight. Head over to the Country House Restaurant. Wednesday's dinner specials include a pasta dinner for two for only $25, including a shared appetizer, 2 salads, and your choice from a selection of deliciously prepared pasta entrees, or a Delmonico steak dinner for only $14.99, plus a great value coupon good for your next visit. So, for a good meal at a great price, head over to the Country House Restaurant, just north of Rutland on Route 7 in Pittsford. Open for lunch and dinner Monday through Thursday, and breakfast, lunch, and dinner Friday through Sunday. More information on Facebook.
You want the big deal, and this is it. $12,000 off any new 2014 GMC Sierra left in stock. That's crazy. With as many trucks as we sell, Springfield Buick GMC doesn't have many of these left, so get here quick. From Tuesday, March 17th to the end of the month, finance with us, and by trading your 2010 or newer, you can take $12,000 off any remaining 2014 GMC Sierras left in stock. That means new trucks, folks, as low as $15,955. Seriously, a new truck as low as $15,955. That's why Springfield Buick GMC sells more new Sierras than almost every other GMC dealer in the country, and has made the GMC Sierra the #1 most registered model in Vermont last year. Springfield Buick GMC is professional grade, and we have new Sierras starting at only $15,955. Leftovers, meftovers, save yourself some cash and get here today. Springfield Buick GMC.
Are you unable to pay your bills and over your head in debt? The truth is, you are not alone. I'm Susan Keating with the National Foundation for Credit Counseling, and I'm here to tell you there is help available to you in these desperate times. Every year, millions of Americans find themselves with serious money problems. There's no shame getting into financial trouble. It is a shame, however, if you do not take steps to get out of trouble. The NFCC is a network of accredited nonprofit community-based agencies offering free and low-cost budgeting and money management services. There are many success stories of how NFCC trained and certified counselors have changed lives. Let us help you too.
Call 1-800-388-2227 to find an NFCC agency near you. That's 1-800-388-2227. Or visit our website at www.nfcc.org.
Turn to the NFCC for a helping hand.
You'll be glad you did. I'm glad we had Bonnie Olson in this morning, certified Martha Beck life coach. Bonnie Olson, Olson, lifecoach.com. Just terrific. I feel centered. I feel at peace. I feel as if the 10 o'clock news is coming up next, to be followed by Sir Philbin. Have yourself a good one. See you tomorrow, God willing, and the creek don't rise.
WSYB Rutland at WSYB1380am.com.